It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stitch of Fate, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by four wonderful players, Josh, Dot, Bub, and Mark. It's been a while for us getting together. How is everybody?
Good. How are you?
Hanging in there.
Yeah, hanging in there. Last time we tried to get together, weather and internet problems were causing it. So it's been a little bit for us to get these last couple of episodes recorded, but we're really excited. The end of the season is upon us. And the next couple weeks, hopefully, are really exciting for everybody here and those listening. As always, before we get going, hey, thank you guys so much for supporting us over at Patreon. We wouldn't be doing this without you. There wouldn't be a season 2 without you. There wouldn't be extra one-shots coming with potential guest surprises coming in the near future without Patreon. So if you want to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/podbynight, and you can either chip in a little or a lot, however much you're comfortable with. Get a few little extra goodies in the background for it and help the show kind of continue pushing forward. On that as well, it's come to our attention that not a lot of people know we have a Discord. And the Discord, while there are benefits for patrons on the Discord, anybody can join the Discord. It is 100% free. So if you want to jump in and talk with other people who are fans of the show, with the cast a little bit as we pop in and out, or you want to talk theories or just World of Darkness stuff or other games, go over to the Twitter. I think is our best place to kind of reach out there, and there should be a link somewhere for you to grab and jump in and join the conversation, especially as season 2 wraps up and you want to start theorizing what's going to happen in that final episode. I think that's it for everything. Did I miss anything? Anybody? No? Okay, cool.
That was the big stuff.
Cool. All right. With that, then we'll set the scene, rein it in, and see what our coterie is up to. A familiar sound greets our ears as the camera fades in the basement of the Succubus Club. The thumping music of the upstairs and the shuffling feet of those who are drinking and enjoying their night, oblivious to the dangers that lurk simply feet beneath them. And as the camera pulls in down to the basement and through the hallway, seemingly empty, and it takes a harsh turn to the right, where the blood room and the meeting of our coterie always takes place, the notable missing body laying on the bench of Prince Panhard is immediately caught by the camera, as she is now stashed securely somewhere nearby in a wall. But the four main members of the coterie all linger nearby in their varying positions. Would Duke be sitting or standing? That's the one in my mind for some reason I can't place, because either he is standing somewhere quietly, or he's sitting in his place with his papers quietly. It just depends on his mood, I suppose.
I think tensions have been a little higher more recently than not, and the standing position offers the most effort for survey.
So we see Duke in a corner, able to see a majority of the room, casting his gaze about. Vera having light conversation with Max as Max Jr. crawls up his shoulder and boops against his chin, purring loudly. And the final one of them to join, with heavy, quick footsteps, is Shaun as he turns into the room, letting them know that tonight he needs to have a conversation, as something had happened the night prior. Shaun, take it away.
Hi. We've had a visit from our friend. My friend. Our nemesis. Good news. He's sort of taken the bait. He's pretty jumpy still, but he wants to...
We got a lot of nemesises. Nemesi?
Oh, specifically. Yeah. Nemesis.
Okay, we got a lot of those. Which one are you talking about in particular?
This
Larson?
particular bastard is Larson.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, he wants to take out the sheriff because he's stupid. But he's gonna take me with him somewhere upstate. show me
Like
some thin
leverage.
blood. Yeah, I'm a hostage of sorts, I suppose, which is fine by me. I can slip out of most places, but I want to keep my head, and I assume the sheriff does as well. So we got to figure something out.
You said he's taking you upstate.
Yeah, he wasn't super specific, but it was like he's like a thin blood ranch. I don't know.
Who would want to bet that this is the same location that Gustav gave up to the prince?
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty likely.
Interesting. Maybe it is a good thing you're going, Shaun. You can scope the place out and tell us what's going on the inside.
If I survive, I'll let you know.
I've no doubt you'll survive. You've made it this far. The question is, will you come back the same?
I don't know what the same is night to night, so depends on what drugs they give me.
I don't mean drugs, Shaun.
Can't be that bad.
We shall see.
Shaun recoils as he remembers the summoning of a demon in the basement of a club. He just repeats, "It can't be that bad."
I cut eyes to Duke and Max.
Yeah, you know something? It could be a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. What do we do, super team?
We do. Well, it seems that you've sold out the sheriff, so I think the best thing we can do is tell him.
I'm
Yeah.
inclined to agree.
Yeah, now, here's a question. Do we want me to tail the kid here?
Oh. That's a thought, isn't it?
It
Though
is.
if you find yourself caught, Max, you are in a sticky situation. And I fear both you and Shaun might lose your heads.
Yeah, well, I got my way out of a lot of sticky situations before. But you are right. I mean, odds are, dealing with the kind of crap we are, there's probably going to be somebody who can see me if they're looking.
Did he say why he's so interested in the sheriff?
I don't think he is interested in the sheriff, but it's a pretty big win, right? If he hates the Camarilla as much as he says he does.
Ugh. Could turn out a lot worse than Kadir.
Yeah, what I was talking about there, kid, is, well, I'm thinking a certain friend of ours who likes to wear cat ears is probably well-versed enough in the kind of stuff that me and my kind do that she could see me as clear as day, if she was looking.
Shit, that's a thing. What's the point in being invisible?
Well, you know, it works most of the time, but there's workarounds, right? There's always a workaround.
Okay.
Shaun, I think you're going to have to go in this one alone.
Oh, okay. All right.
Look, as someone who has, what is the old saying, been there, done that, just play it cool and participate.
I am a team player. Yes.
Shaun,
Hello.
what is Larson expecting to show you here at this home or ranch?
Thin bloods. And I'm not going to say I'm not interested because, well, I've got to give some of them a chance, haven't I?
Certainly it is the bane of wearing your heart on your sleeve consistently and, I guess, caring about more than yourself.
Sort of.
So what? Father is going to show you more thin bloods and win you over this way.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's probably something to do with his freaky deaky religion. He's a bit of, oh god, he's like either always been completely off the rails and good at hiding it, or he's just like right over the last like few weeks. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't know No, he knows, right? So, if that's the case, then I say we prepare for them to attack Kadir. The question is where?
If they don't get Kadir, they're never going to trust me again.
What did you tell them, Shaun? That you would tell them where Kadir is?
Yeah.
You did not promise them Kadir's head. They still have to do the hard work.
That's true. I'm not sure it'll convince Larson, but I'll give it a go.
Well, I don't give a fuck about Larson.
And, listen, kid, before you go on this little day trip of yours, I know you can kind of mix and match your disciplines, so to speak, kind of go a la carte, right?
I've been practicing, yeah.
Okay, you got anything that might help you beef up your, I don't know, resistance to, shall we say, the old mental whammy?
Yeah. It's not one I can do easy, but I think there was this one time where I got my hand caught in a meat grinder, and it didn't hurt because it was like this weird one-off time where, you know, I was out and about, I needed a snack. This person was just feeling pretty grumpy, I think. So yeah, it was a weird day, but I think I could do that.
But I'm talking specifically, you know, for your noggin. If somebody tries to put the old hoodoo voodoo on you, you know, hypnotize and whatnot.
I am pretty stubborn, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah, it might be a good idea is all.
I think I can get stubbornness out of a couple of people. There's some very, very particular types that I sell to. I can probably find it from them.
All right. See that you do.
Does Shaun kind of let it dissipate from this point on? Is there more that any of the coder would like to speak to Shaun about, or anything Shaun would like to say to them prior to moving forward?
Duke just watches.
Eyes intently locked on Shaun.
Yes.
Shaun is kind of psyching himself up, and he looks back at Duke, like right in the eyes for once. And he's fidgeting a little bit, but he's like, I need some advice, Duke.
Well, I suppose there's a first for everything.
Might even listen to this one.
Enlighten me.
I'm going in all alone. Where does this fit in the big plan? Am I sticking with it? Am I pretending we're best buds? Do I learn what I can and get the fuck out of there?
Depends on what you're trying to gain from this, Shaun. Are you attempting to see what sort of masquerade or charade he is holding, heralding over these people? Is this another Jonestown experiment? Or perhaps you have your own interests, something you'd like to establish for yourself. Perhaps you think that Larson isn't all bad, and that there is something to garner here. You do have a thing for thin bloods. This is something we all know. And we can appreciate that about you. It's nice having you around, at least for that much, because you remind us. You remind us what it's like to care about something other than ourselves. If only for that, I suppose. But for once more, only you can determine what it is that is most valuable for you here. Are you comfortable in the here and the now with us? Or are you looking for something more permanent, with something more, I don't know, like yourself?
If I get the chance, I'm gonna make a hole in Larson.
I believe that is owed, at the very least.
So, listen, if you want any pointers, you're going to want to go right for the bridge of the nose, because there's a chance that you can just punch right through the skull if you hit it right. Just a tip.
He holds up his noodle arms and is like, I don't have a magic fist, mate.
Oh, right. You can get stronger, though, right?
I don't go to the gym.
Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, just stick with the protecting yourself from the mental whammy thing, maybe. Don't worry about the punching through the head. That's the next stage of workshops.
Look, we'll make the Kadir side of things convincing. But you also have to be convincing. I did what you're about to do once before. Infiltrate the Sabbat. They're going to show you shiny things. Tell you that the structure of the Camarilla is all bullshit. And even if it is, the fact of the matter is, in the amount of time that it took us to kill 3 Thin Bloods, Larson killed 30 humans. They will do this in mass. Ongoing, Shaun. So when you're in there and they're fucking around with your mind and convincing you that they have something to offer you, remember what's being sacrificed. You don't have to choose us. You don't have to choose him. But you are going to have to make a choice.
Good to know. I'll see if we can get the old noggin armor then.
Shaun awkwardly kind of takes a step back, maintaining eye contact with the coterie just for a few seconds longer before breaking that line of sight, turning his body and quickly making his way out of the blood room. The other 3 kind of remain. A feeling of perhaps uneasiness lies over the room after Shaun is heard walking away and then a door distantly shut. The question is, how does the coterie feel about how Shaun relayed? Or rather, how does the coterie feel about the information Shaun relayed? Is there an air of confidence in Shaun after he's left?
Do you think he's being honest with us?
Yeah, I think the jury's still out on that.
I think he's trying to determine if we are a familial set for him, or if Larson is the immediate answer to that. It's no doubt in anyone's mind that Shaun has been a bit of a lost, wandering light. If at all a light.
Well, so far, his information has rung true. And as much as it may pain me to say it, so far he has not let us down. Except for that whole suit thing. Ugh.
So, what do you reckon, Vera? Do you want me to tail him? I mean, as far as he knows, I'm not gonna. So I figure that's good. If he doesn't know I'm there, there's less chance of him letting something slip. But like I said, there's a good chance that whoever he's going to meet is, shall we say, heightened perception.
Yes. I have a feeling that if they're going to send what they've got after the sheriff, it's not going to be some small play. Larson may be an asshole, but he's not stupid. Which tells me that we're going to need every bit of fighting power that we can.
You got it.
I think, unfortunately, we're just going to have to trust Shaun with this one.
Okay, Vera, you're the boss.
I think I'm going to see to Shaun to see if he might need something more. For once, I was surprised to see that he looked to me for advice.
By all means.
Duke quickly peels away from the group and stoically, but with haste, walks out down the hall following Shaun's steps. Shaun, where would Duke catch you before... Where was Shaun on his way to, rather?
Shaun was on the way to his own private quarters where his herd are assembled.
So you probably catch him on the flight of stairs leading to the 3rd floor, halfway up, with the music overbearingly loud, but you probably feel a small tap or touch on your shoulder to get your attention over the noise, Shaun, as you turn to see a rather tall individual waiting for you. Do you lead him into your private quarters? Do you bring Duke into your private quarters?
Shaun keeps walking.
Okay. Does Duke
And
follow?
sees if he follows him in.
Duke strides up the stairs, I imagine,
Yes.
and follows you into your room as you swing the door open and make your way in, and the door shuts behind the both of you, muffling the music. There's a few brief moments before a pile of pillows and clothes shifts uncomfortably, and a head pops out between them, kind of pushing away the blankets. His eyes are squinted, one's completely closed, as he tries to focus very, very difficultly on whoever just walked into the door, until eventually his eye meets yours, Shaun. And he looks over to Duke, and that, shall we call it, curiosity fades, and in its place, a discomfort. You watch him kind of quietly sink, and for the very first time in a long time, he has nothing to say. He sinks into the blankets and clothes, and he even covers most of his face with the blanket, and he closes his eyes, quote unquote. But can I get a wits awareness from the both of you? Duke gets a 3, Shaun gets a 3. You both are aware that while he's closing his eyes, he very much still has one open, and it's very much locked on Duke.
If it's not a problem, I would like a little bit of privacy with my friend Shaun here. Whomever is sleeping in that mass of pillow and lust. If you would find yourself into the hallway, this would be easier on me.
His eye now fully opens, still locked on you, but it does turn to Shaun for reassurance, perhaps.
Shaun just gives him the nod and is just like, go on, out.
He quickly grabs a nearby t-shirt that's a bit too large for him and throws it over as it sinks down to his knees, and he scoots on a quick pair of dirty underwear that he finds and throws them on before shorts, but without any shoes and without making sure his hair is kept. He kind of makes his way out of the door and shuts it, leaving the two of you alone.
Shaun, you're in a bit of a precarious situation.
Haven't I always been?
I suppose. But now more than ever. Your situation is no doubt dangerous, and I come to you offering any assistance that you might need, even if I herald some amount of envy. Danger is interesting, Shaun.
Yeah. I quite enjoy it. I don't know. Pretty sure. Well, let's just say if they send whatever's left of me back to you, don't do anything weird with it. Bury it in the garden and get yourself a new thin bud.
Quaint. Charming, as always, quaint. But let's think ahead. Let's not see you back in a pine box or in a series of bags. That would be ideal, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I don't do that, though. Where does it come in your big plan?
Which part?
The bit where I go out into the middle of nowhere with a gun and my wits.
A gun's not going to help you. At least not as far as I'm aware.
Let me feel
Larson's
better.
not afraid of a firearm. He's not afraid of you either. It's one of two scenarios, Shaun. He either thinks that he can twist you to his side, or he's going to immediately dispose of you. But wouldn't he have done that already? Wouldn't he have taken the moment that felt like it was an obvious and easiest out for removal of a thorn? He has hopes for you, Shaun. He wants more than what he's currently getting. You turned to me for advice. You asked about my grand plan, and I don't have one. Mostly because I don't see the board. Each of us play our own roles. What role do you play? Are you a pawn on this board? Or are you operating as a rook? Are you a knight? Are you Larson's bishop?
I really hope that I'm a checker.
I expected that answer from you. Regardless, you turned to me for advice, and you did so with the premise of discovering my means, or what I would do in the situation is my guess.
Yeah. If you were going out there, what would you do?
In my experience, casing the joint, if you will, is the best method. Don't go down looking for a slumber party. Find entry points, exits, count faces, seek symbols, remember sigils, something akin to what we may have discovered in that apartment when we initially dealt with Larson to begin with. Discover means of protection, any firepower that they might wield. Know the confident ones in the room. They're the ones that have the least amount of fear and the most for you to gain from. They don't see you as a threat, Shaun. Larson does, hence why he is desperately clutching at straws to draw you in. Because he knows that somewhere, you are important to us. And you are among his and her first. You never forget your first. Ever.
Well, I've forgotten a lot of things, but it will be a night to remember. And Shaun sits down and opens a mini fridge that's full of gunk and crap and blood, and he pushes aside everything and grabs a little triangular packet, tears it open, and takes a huge bite out of a tuna salad sandwich.
You think this is an operation? Oh, is that tuna? You play with my heart. The strings you pull, you idle child. Forgive me. In another time, I would ask for you to describe its magnificence, but for now, I have to ask, how long do you think Larson has been running this operation in this ranch outside of town?
How long has he known Meer?
Interesting answer. You understand that we could track you. It would be simple, to be honest. Maybe a bit painful at first, but simple.
I downloaded a few apps. He gave me this burner phone, but it's too old to actually do anything with them. So I'll have my other phone on me. Do you know what Find My Phone is?
Shaun, I haven't used a phone since there was a turn dial.
Right. Well, we'll do it your way then.
Simple enough. We'll have to contact someone to retrieve this, but a small incision in your skin, and we can put a tracker. Perhaps you like it in your ass cheek. Maybe a calf. Potentially even your heel.
Oh, that sounds really uncomfortable.
This is the life of a kindred.
Okay.
They're going to want your phone, Shaun, if you haven't guessed as much. And as a thin blood, they're not going to guess that you've been chipped, at least more so than that brand on your chest.
Oh, yeah. Who the fuck tracks that one? Yeah, sorry. Microchip. Let's do it.
Good. I'll follow through a few lines and seek out some help at an animal shelter. Should be easy enough.
Oh, God.
It's okay, Shaun. We're all animals. Especially that one in the hall. I don't understand his role here, unless you consistently feed from him.
We're not supposed to tell people about that, are we?
Which part? Is this a kiss and tell situation?
The feeding?
You're right. We're not supposed to discuss those matters amidst kine.
Yes.
I'm not kine, Shaun.
Right.
Right.
Then he's one of a few. He thinks he just gets the good stuff on a discount. I mean, he's broke, so I don't know where he thinks this transaction's coming from. He's also quite entertaining.
Does he dance?
He did a little dance once, when he thought I wasn't looking.
Duke probably stifles back laughter for like the first time, even like covering his mouth. Rarely will you find a sense of humor in things, and sometimes, Shaun, you're quite humorous. Sometimes.
Well, at least I got one redeeming feature.
If you need me for anything, or Max, or even Vera, I would be remiss to say that we at least do not care. Small amount.
Max is reliable, you know what you're doing, and Vera's the boss. So...
Oh, we're all broken things. We're a collection of such. It's mishmashes of various puzzles, all brought together under this one roof. We work in our own way. It's a tandem cycle, if you will. You're, at this point, a sort of intricate piece, and you're playing a role. For the sake of not making you feel too comfortable, losing you would put a damper on the role that you play. And we'd hate to lose you, Shaun. You're useful.
Wow. Yeah, I'm hungry.
If you need anything else, you know where to find me. I'll put the dancing man back in the room for you.
Thank you.
So as Duke leaves the room and the door opens, there he is leaning up against the wall, kind of staring down at the dance floor as minimal lighting actually hits him whatsoever. The door opening and you stepping out completely catches him off guard. For one, he couldn't hear the door open over the music, and two, seeing such an imposing figure step out of nowhere so quietly and so suddenly makes his heart sink. As you step out and he catches eyes with you, he doesn't say a word. He simply watches you. He keeps a good distance from you. Does Duke say anything, or does he simply walk by?
As Duke's walking by on down the stairs, you'll probably hear, like, with his back turned, walking away. He said he's waiting for you to dance. Maybe sing even. Don't let the boy down.
There is, unsurprisingly, zero reply, but you do hear the door hurriedly shut after those words, and Shaun inspills the now terrified-looking friend of yours. You want to feed? I'm assuming you're going to feed off your herd. How many dots in herd do you have? Is it one or two?
I have 3.
3? Okay, so you can feed 3 dots if you'd like. How hungry are you?
I am 1 hungry.
Okay, so you just need to pull 1 dot from them anyway.
And I'm going to put some dots into fortitude.
Okay. And after Shaun feeds and he distributes some dots into some fortitude, about an hour or so afterward, Shaun, you feel a rather violent vibration from the old phone.
Oh, bloody hell. Picks it up.
As you look at it, it's actually a text message on the green screen. And as you flip it open, the phone and the green text message, it simply says, from an unknown number, presumably that of Larson's. It simply says, Central Park, 2 days, alone.
Okay. I just send back okay.
Okay. Message, you kind of just, with the T9 text messaging, you kind of spell out O and K, and then you send it. Oh, you went over the K. You have to go over it one more time. Okay, there we go. You get the K locked in, and you send it off. And at this point, as a reminder, Larson has no idea when Kadir is supposed to show up yet. You haven't had that figured out. So in 2 days, you're not sure what he's looking for other than to meet you. But that's information he's looking to gather from you at the very least.
I think Shaun's going to prepare everything he needs. Like, he's just going to think through it. He's not going to write anything down, but he'll just think through what he needs to tell Larson to get his lackeys or whoever to be at Kadir at the right time when he knows he's going to be around.
Yeah, the rest of you are expecting Kadir anytime. Only a night or two ago, Duke and Shaun went to the offices to hopefully find Kadir. He was not around. However, a message was left for him that the two of you were looking for him. Like I said, it's been, I think, a couple nights since you've done that. This night, however, comes to a close, unless the other 3, Duke, Max, and Vera, have any more conversation. The 3 of them or any of the 2 of them would like to have before pushing on to the next night.
I would seek Max at the very least.
Max being somewhere probably in his room or near the blood room is relatively easy to find unless he's purposely looking to be invisible. Yeah. You good? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Max will be in his room then.
Max is doing his usual cat crap disposal duty. Man, God, Max Jr. sure eats a lot. I don't know what the hell he gets up to, but all right.
You can hear the shifting of the cat litter and the constant scooping noises as you get closer, Duke, until you see him, much like last time, bent over, scooping litter out of his box.
In an effort to not be his usual sentry-like self, he'll knock on the frame of the door.
Hey there, Duke, come on in. You notice that Max has a cigarette dangling from his lips as he finishes off sorting through the litter box. Max Jr. is perched on his shoulder, and Max actually takes the cigarette from his lips and then holds it up for Max Jr. to take a drag.
Max Jr. leans forward with its nose, and he gets a couple. He sniffs it before he gives a quick lick. But as he licks, he kind of puts his mouth on it, his teeth around it. Doesn't truly bite, but then he pulls back, and you see smoke kind of fall out of his mouth and his nose in a weird way as the cat kind of laps at the same time.
I'm certain that is not entirely healthy for that animal, but
Max Jr.,
not my
perhaps
pet.
even understanding you, hisses at you.
Hey, calm down. It's not like it's bad for him anymore.
He's yours, not really much of my concern, just suggesting that I don't think it's immediately healthy.
It's not like I taught it to him. He just kind of started insisting at some point.
Interesting.
So, what can I do?
Not why I'm here.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. What is the rumpus?
You know, you should really coin that catchphrase and trademark it. I think that you're quite nailing that certain feeling that it carries.
Yeah, I got my legal team working on it. What do you want, though?
Shaun is heading to this ranch, and I think he is more or less uncertain about his position. He wants protection. He wants to of zero remorse for his decisions. I know that he wants to do what's right, but I think that Shaun needs some means of tracking that's traditional. I was wondering if you had any contacts. I know that you have a bit of a niche point and a soft spot for animals, given what I know about you. If you had any allies at local animal shelter or a veterinary care, I think we need to put some sort of tracker on Shaun.
Jeez.
He's agreed to it
I
as
don't know.
well.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. I just don't know how much I can help. I've known a few gangrel in my time, but they don't gotta rely on shit like that, right?
Understood.
But I guess I got some black market contacts. Maybe I could look into it, but don't expect miracles. You know what I'm saying?
It is a name of someone who's willing to do some street surgery, if you will.
Okay. Oh, right. We're gonna put it inside him.
Yes, I'm sure I could coerce them, or with Vera's assistance, we could offer them something they couldn't quite refuse.
Yeah. So I mean, the kid, we could always just get him to swallow it.
For something a bit more permanent.
Oh, I see. Yeah, could come in handy after this particular job. I can ask around and see what I can do. But like I say, don't expect miracles.
Understood. Anything would help at this point. I would hate to have to dredge and drag people through this that are unnecessary names and faces.
Gotcha. So, what do you reckon about the sheriff showing up here?
I'm expecting it any moment, to be honest. And I hope that he does. This is an opportunity for Shaun to save face. I'm sure that you caught on to that last conversation where Shaun had threatened to crisp our prince, and strike too.
Yeah, I was there for that. I remember pretty well. I had a little. I assume you did as well. Yeah, I don't like this at all, to be honest.
No, it's not moving or settling confidently on me, but I think everyone is a bit tense these days.
Yeah, listen, I was about to offer you something, but I don't think you gonna want what's on the menu.
His fridge, pulls out a bag of congealed blood and just starts slurping it down.
And Duke's hand will come up, offering like that no thank you. This little no thank you wave.
Yeah, I know. There we go.
By the way, Max, how is the boy, the one that you brought back into health?
Oh, he's doing okay. I mean, he's pretty much recovered. He's looking at getting a new job. I've been doing my own runs over to the hospital. I probably will continue to do that, seeing as it's so convenient. But he's probably going to be stationed somewhere else. Yeah, I got to admit, I'm worried about Stinky.
Oh, why is that?
Yeah. I know she's stashed at the school and all, but I can't help but think. I know it's a bonehead play, but if she was here, it'd be easy to keep an eye on her, you know?
Sure, that makes sense. But what better a place to help her on her way than to have 3 eyes on her at all times?
Yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah, don't mind me.
It's an out of sight, out of mind situation, Max. I understand your concern, and it comes with a valid fear. While I can't claim to understand exactly what Gustav was capable of or what he had done, I can respect and admire your method of handling the situation.
Sure. Well, let me tell you, he's capable of a lot. And by now, I figure his nutsack is almost grown. He's probably got revenge on his mind.
When do you think Gustav will be popping back up?
Thing about him, he lies low. He knows how to do that just fine. Crawl under a rock. The hammer might not drop for 10 or 20 years, or it could be tomorrow.
To his plays, wasn't it something like every 5 to 10 years, a decade, or sorts?
Well, I mean, I thought he was dead for about 50 years, so he doesn't biding his time, you know?
If you wouldn't mind sharing any more, I might be able to help locate and place him, if that would be of benefit to you. He's kind of my specialty, Max.
Okay, well, I mean, you met him. Got an idea of what he's like. Yeah, he goes in for extravagant gestures, you know? And you seen the number that he's pulled on Stinky. He can be real charming when he wants to.
Sure, he's a compulsive narcissist. Shouldn't be too entirely hard to find, especially if he leaves a trail.
Yeah, well, compulsive narcissist is a real and complete dickhole.
Yeah, yes, he's not exactly my favorite either. If I can utilize some of my newfound allies of the Chantry, I might be able to locate him, Max, if that is of benefit to you.
You can do that.
I suppose
And
where
we
there's a
can
will, there's a
talk.
way.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Whatever you can do.
It would
Listen,
help
Luke,
if you had some sort of apparatus, a fetter, something that might help me locate him.
Well, you know.
Max reaches into his weapons and pulls forth a silver dagger.
Yeah, this is something he gave me. It was his.
Max, there's a very good chance that this is exactly how he's locating you.
Huh. I never even thought of that. Yeah. Bullshit, I don't know anything about it. But here,
As you did say
Take
that he
it.
had a penchant for finding magical gizmos and the sort.
yeah. Wow.
I'll see what I can make happen.
Okay. All right. Yeah, take it. But, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really like parting with a silver weapon when there's lichens around.
Of their least concern, I've traced some of their money around, and they're not following us.
All right. Thanks, dude.
Of course.
So as Duke walks away with the silver dagger in hand, eyeballing it as he kind of just has plans on what to do with this thing, the camera hard shifts. We're inside Shaun's room, and Shaun is fiddling with perhaps some blood alchemy or something along those lines, as the one he just fed on is asleep, unconscious amongst the blankets after having been fed. And as Shaun's fiddling with things, he jumps ever so slightly as there's a gentle knock on your door.
Shaun is confused, but holds the cigarette in his lips and then like awkwardly shuffles over and opens the door.
As the door swings open, you are greeted by perhaps the most beautiful sight you've seen all night. Vera.
Right, boss?
I'm not here for you.
As Vera looks past you, Vera, you see clearly amongst the blankets, there he is, the one who called you out. Unconscious as shit.
I'd like to speak with him. Like is a strong term. I want to.
Shaun, you just fed on him.
Got to be careful with him, though. He's fragile and stupid.
My favorite kind.
Right. Yeah, I walk over and I grab him by the shirt.
As you
and
grab
I
him by
wobble
the
him
shirt,
around.
you wobble him back and forth, and he opens up half an eye, half-heartedly, and you can tell he's having a hard time focusing on you, and he lets out just a gentle moan, like, ugh.
Bill comes due, buddy. I told you I couldn't help you.
As you say that, as you're holding him by the shirt, you watch as his head lags back, and it just kind of goes backward as his eyes roll back.
Ugh,
You hear
useless.
him once again moan, Vera, as you stride into the room.
Uh,
The pungent
Drop
smell
him.
of weed and other things fills it.
Ugh,
And as you
Theo.
drop him, he kind of hits the blankets with a thud.
Shaun, whatever happens tomorrow, just remember, even if you fuck up, even if shit goes bad, you can always come back here.
Thank you. I think I might.
Good. And I grab his friend by the collar,
He
and I
gets,
drag him out of the room.
his ass is on the ground. I imagine he's in kind of you're dragging him as he's sat up. His head's off to the side. You've got the back of his collar. And as he's getting dragged, his pants are getting are frictioning with the rug underneath. And they're not buttoned. They're not taken care of. And as you're dragging him away, his pants kind of get pulled down around his ankles and get stuck
Disgusting.
there as you slowly drag him out of the room.
I want to pull him like up the next flight of stairs into the third floor. Like,
Sure.
I'm just gonna
Yep.
wake him up the whole way up the flight of stairs.
As you do every single one, each one is greeted with a more uncomfortable and louder groan or moan until the very last one where you just hear, with much effort, you see him say, "Fuck."
Are you going to get up on your own feet, or shall I drag you?
He makes a valiant attempt. In fact, I'll make a roll because he will try. He's not feeling too good, but he's going to try. He grasps towards the nearest banister with both of his hands, and he grabs one with one and then another one on the top, and he tries, and he does pull himself up. But the best he can do is pull himself over to the railing and lean himself on it. As he looks back to you, he rubs his head, and he rubs the side of his face, and he just kind of mumbles, what time is it?
It doesn't matter. It's time to, what did Shaun say? Pay up? What was that? Cold-hearted bitch? Is that did I get that right? Was my rhetoric off?
As you say those words, his eyes break from yours, and he looks to the ground, and he kind of tilts his head for a minute, and he thinks real hard. Like, you can see the gears turning in his mind before you imagine they would be eyes of surprise and perhaps even fear if he wasn't feeling as groggy and as
Right.
drunk, so to speak, as he does right now. And as he looks back up, there is a genuine look of recognition at this point as to perhaps what's going on finally. He tries to get words out, but they slur and they fall, and you can't even understand what he's trying to say.
Don't hurt yourself. As much as I'd love to push you from the third floor and watch John mop up your grease stain, I'm going to give you another opportunity.
His head lags from the left to the right, but his eyesight never breaks yours.
It's about Shaun. Maybe something you might care about. Wonderful. I kind of backhand him really hard. Are you listening? Good. Tomorrow, Shaun is going to leave this place and go out with another man. I want you to rally your disgusting little troops, find a car, and I want you to follow them. Wherever they go, do not enter the building. But if Shaun needs a ride, you're going to be there, do you understand? If Shaun does not come home tomorrow because you failed to give him a ride, I will string you up from the ceiling and leave you for the evening. And when it's all said and done, I'll let every person in this bar beat you like a piñata. Do you understand?
His eyesight breaks from yours, and he stares off, clearly disassociating.
Vera
the
reaches
wall
deep
behind you.
into her cleavage and pulls out a wad of cash.
We'll make a roll. He needs to make a roll for that. We'll see. It takes a moment, but as the wad of cash is perhaps even waggled closer to his eyesight, it eventually does kind of catch his attention, and his eyes kind of lean forward.
You can keep every bit of this as long as you get a car and bring Shaun back.
Okay.
How about this? You bring him back and I'll give you another. since fear doesn't seem to work on you. Like, put the wad of cash in his very cold, clammy hand.
Whatever Shaun has, can I get more of that?
Sure. We'll make sure you get all the Shaun that you can handle. As long as you bring him back.
Yeah. Am I gonna...
So, help me out here. What is your horrid little name?
He actually stops for a minute and sighs, and he just like...
to think about it.
He has to think, and he closes his eyes for a moment. Timmy.
Wonderful. Timmy. What is the plan? Repeat it to dear Vera.
Bring Shaun home.
He's going to do what with what?
I don't know.
Leave.
But I'm gonna follow him.
You're gonna follow him wherever he goes. You're not going to enter the building. And if he needs
Can
a
I
ride,
just like
you'll
call
be
him an Uber?
No. You can like take the money I just gave you and find yourself a ride. Plus,
Okay,
I have to
told
live up
you,
to my cold-hearted bitch name, right, Timmy?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, no, you're not.
Oh my god, you're disgusting. Get out of my sight. If he doesn't make it back, I will find you.
I told Shaun I didn't want to get involved in this shit. I just wanted to do the drug stuff.
Too bad. We can't always get what we want.
He takes a moment and then eventually begins to shuffle away without so much as a word or a goodbye.
Yeesh. Vera lets out a big sigh, burst open the double doors, slams them shut to Raven.
Startles him, but you don't see it as he jumps a little bit on the other side of the door and eventually makes his way back to Shaun's room. The night begins to wind to a close. The guests of the club begin to meander their way out, and the music itself has more or less been brought to a lull. And Vera sweeps through the club, saying goodnight to those that she's familiar with, bidding those who are new and welcome back a merry good evening. And as Vera's about to stride out, there's a bit of commotion at the front door that stops her from beginning to stride up those stairs just as her first foot was about to hit that first stair. And as she turns around and she watches the guests all kind of separating, trying to make their way out the front door, creating plenty of space in the center, walking through those double doors with his glasses at the tip of his nose, a perfectly tailored, perfectly pressed blue suit with a white shirt underneath and the top button undone, and short, well taken care of hair. In strides Arturo, with merely an hour or two left of the evening before it's done. You'd say that the face he makes as he looks at the kind piling by him is disgust, but the subtleties of Arturo you're well familiar with, Vera. It's more surprise, as he pushes his way through the rest of the crowd and sees the open dance floor and scans around until he sees you. He says with a bit of joy and energy in his voice, and that of, again, surprise. Am I late? I thought you were open until sunrise. I apologize. I had a busy evening and I wasn't able to warn you, shall we say, of my arrival this evening. I apologize again. And he gives you a sarcastic but deep bow.
There's no reason to apologize. Vera Volkov is always prepared, Arturo. You should know that by now. And why ask questions you know the answer to? You're always fashionably late.
He smiles and he says, well, I wasn't sure if your invitation was that of genuine or sarcasm, as he reaches into his pocket and pulls a cigar that has been snapped at the tip. Most of its insides had fallen out, but it still maintains that gold band with his name around it. You didn't take much care for my invite, so... He shrugs and places it on a nearby table.
I take no responsibility for the delivery boy.
He
But I'll
smiles.
see what I can do about a replacement for you.
That would be all too kind of you, Vera. I would never expect nor ask of such a thing. Would you prefer I return another evening? As he looks around and the last of the kind are now making their way out the door before the security, personal security is getting ready to lock it.
Well, I guess that is a question for you, Arturo. What is it you seek in this club? It was of your interest.
I wanted to see what all the hubbub was about. A VIP treatment in the Succubus Club is one so rarely earned by anybody, and those who have had it speak nothing but magical things about it. I would love to experience this just once myself, and those who would never get such an experience can hear from my very lips how rare, exciting, and worthwhile a visit to your club and that particular treatment is.
Let me see what I can do. I like snap my fingers and wave at the bouncer to like close the door, not locking people in, but just like kind of stop people from leaving. And Vera says out loud, "Drinks on the house for those who stay around. It looks like I might be giving a late night performance if you've never seen me dance."
There isn't a single one that gets stopped that tries to leave after that announcement. Everybody here who arrives at the Succubus Club is aware of who Vera is to at least a certain extent, and if you're one of the lucky ones to see such a performance, that's something to write home about. So everybody, as the doors shut, not a single kind asks the bouncer to leave. They all turn, some making their way over to drinks they may have left on the table that haven't been cleaned up yet, and others making their way over to the bar, expecting that free drink as soon as possible. But the camera turns from them and back to Vera, and what do we see Vera do?
She pulls a lighter out of somewhere. You don't know where. She just does. And she flips it open and she lights a cigar.
The one that he placed on the table?
Yes. She'll kind of puff on it and pass it back to him.
He pulls the glasses off of his face and begins to clean them with his shirt as you take your first puffs, and as you reach over to hand it over, he slides them back onto his ears and reaches over and joins you with a puff as well. He lets the taste roll over his tongue for a little bit before he lets the smoke fall out of his mouth. And he says, "While the delivery boy could certainly use a replacement, these are high quality."
As is Vera Volkov. I sized you up the moment I saw you, Arturo. I knew your tastes.
He takes another puff and just lets the taste kind of overtake him.
Now, since it seems that I'm going to have to prepare for a performance, I may have to leave you momentarily, but I must know. What is it that interests you so much about the happenings behind the Succubus Club? You've had decades to come knocking at my door. And you waited until now. Why?
He again takes another puff of the cigar as he lets that question kind of roll over him.
And last time I checked, you haven't come up on your end of the bargain.
Well, I needed to make sure that this wasn't some sort of sarcastic insult of an invitation to receive so clearly expensive cigars in such ragtag shape. One can only assume when dealing with the Rose Garden that it could equally be that of an insult, as well as just an unfortunate accident.
Well, then you underestimate me, Arturo. Sarcasm is not in my size.
If there's one thing I do not do, Miss Volkov, I promise you, it is underestimate you.
Wonderful. Then let us back to business. What can I actually do for you, Arturo?
You don't believe me?
I believe that you are a businessman, and no matter how much you don't want this to be business, we both know that you don't live your life personally. You are the Harpy of New York, so what can I do for you?
I've been a busy man, Miss Vera Volkov. A busy man, especially these past few weeks. He sits back in his chair. He crosses a leg over the other. He looks around to make sure he's got space before he takes another puff of the cigar. And then he looks and he says, "Does the VIP treatment just sit on the dance floor with everybody else?"
Oh, of course not. And I'll, as we speak, kind of walk him up the stairs to the private booth that overlooks like the mezzanine down to the stage. Trust me, this will be the best seat in the house.
And he smiles very politely and follows you up. As you enter the private room overlooking the mezzanine and he takes a seat, it's hard to tell if he's truly impressed. Arturo is Harpy after all, and having that title comes with particular talents. Hiding his own particular emotions is one that he's known for. As he looks about the room and back to you, he simply continues the conversation as though it hadn't stopped from the first floor. I've been a busy man, as I said. Interesting things have come to light, and I've had to bury my little nose in dirty piles of grass around New York to even get half a whiff of the shit that's happening around this city lately. So help me piece together something here, and perhaps I can help you if you can help me. The prince is away on business. She has been for a little while. A little longer than expected, and others are getting concerned. So I started asking around, as I do, those who may have known, those on street level, trying to figure out if the prince is truly away where she is. Perhaps there's a good reason that the truth is being hidden. Perhaps the Camarilla truly has need for her in this very moment. But color me surprised that the night after, or rather the night that she supposedly leaves for business, the night prior, there was a bit of a hubbub somewhere near your club. Not a single peep from any kindred, of course, but enough kind in the nearby area to have heard a few things. Couldn't figure out what, couldn't even truly figure out what happened here. But that's all I have. The prince goes missing. The night after, an altercation seems to happen in front of your club. What that altercation was, who was involved, I have a hard time knowing. But it was your club, Miss Volkov. I fully expect you know everything that happens around your area. So,
My. Arturo has come to my door, the Harpy of New York, for gossip.
he smiles. What is my purpose otherwise than to have information on the lifeblood of New York City?
Well, it sounds to me like you're not doing a very good job.
Oh, my dear Vera, I can't have eyes everywhere. I'm only one man.
So you want my eyes, is that what you're telling me?
I wouldn't expect to hand them over so freely, nor would I be stupid enough to take you at your word. But yes, I'd love to have a conversation with you.
Well, rumor is, of course, rumor. Where you heard the prince disappeared, I heard she absconded.
His eyebrows raise with curiosity as he leans back into the chair in a bit more of a relaxed posture.
Business may be one way to put it. I guess that depends on what kind of business she's doing.
And are you telling me that you know the business that she's up to?
I'm telling you that you're right. I hear a lot of things in and out of my club, the happenings on the street. Tell me, you were there the last Elysium. You saw her, buddy with that Nosferatu.
New to New York, though I haven't seen him since. Curious.
Interesting, isn't it? About the same time that the prince went missing.
He nods.
I heard through the grapevine he brought a pretty present to her.
It wouldn't surprise me. A new kindred in New York, wanting to find his way into the good graces of the Camarilla.
Yes, the Camarilla. A man who has never shown any alignment with it whatsoever. If you think his interests lie in the Camarilla, then you're blind, Arturo.
He smiles. Interesting coming from you, Miss Volkov.
I am an interesting woman.
That I will not disagree with. But to place that particular burden on him, in this day and age, in this modern night, holds a lot less weight than it may have 10 years ago. As you are aware,
Maybe.
the Sombra have been making strides to join the Camarilla. Those who were once no longer aligned, wishing to seek alignment, are much more common now.
Yes, I'm fully aware. Some of us still don't get that special treatment, though.
He smiles. There are reasons.
I'm aware. I'm a rather astute lady, which is why I'm telling you. Rumor has it our dear prince is not on business. She's on a romantic vacation. You silly man.
His eyebrows raise. He allows this big toothy grin, and he removes his glasses and places them on the table. A breathy chuckle escapes his lips before he pushes himself back. You're to tell me that our dear Prince Panhard is having a romantic getaway with the Nosferatu who looks like a creature man-bat thing.
I'm telling you that he appears out of nowhere, gives her a gift, remains her right hand through Elysium, and they come strolling hand in hand through my territory the night before she goes missing, and so does he. Sounds to me like something personal is happening. Unless you're
out of touch with such personal things.
He lets that roll around for a minute, the grin never truly falling from his face before he chomps on the cigar a bit. Interesting rumors and stories, certainly. I'm curious what truth there is there. Something to keep me busy for the next few nights, perhaps.
Maybe.
But you're right, and I'm a man of my word. I come with an answer.
Oh. He
You wish
does
to
hold his
know-
end of the bargain.
You wish to know what Gustav gave our dear prince.
I do.
Are you familiar with the old clan?
Maybe.
Gustav, details are not particularly readily available, as this went to the prince's ears directly. I did what I could to get my hands on it, though. As far as my understanding, Gustav informed our dear prince of a Zemitzi, somewhere within New York. One that apparently is causing issues or planning to cause issues. I wasn't entirely sure what, if he had begun or not. Or if, rather, he would have said if they begun or not knowing if it's a man or a woman.
Interesting. Wonder why she would be interested in such information, but
I imagine
I'm not the
elimination,
prince.
removal.
Probably. None of my business.
No.
That being said, I will give you another hint, since you seem to be without information. Word has it that a Thin Blood club burned.
He actually nods. Yes, I'm aware of this. I believe the Chantry took care of that. I'm not sure, though.
They did. I have heard that our dear prince, who has a soft spot for them, was spotted there with our dear Gustav.
Oh, this is new information.
You didn't come to Vera Volkov for nothing.
At this point, the cigar is running low. He looks to take the final drag of it before placing it down in a nearby ashtray.
Well, before you go, I guess I should keep my end of the bargain.
He nods and lets the smoke out.
I haven't danced in this club in many years. Consider yourself worthy, Arturo.
As he puts the last bit of the cigar out in the ashtray, he places the glasses back on.
All the lights in the club go out, and you hear in dead silence the sound of a fingernail ripping open black vinyl. And you hear her entire suit she's wearing hit the ground. The spotlight pans up to Vera up in the catwalk, like on the 3rd floor, and you see her bound in black silk. Mass amounts of black silk. Her whole body. But you can tell that underneath she's entirely naked. And as the music starts, she slowly unwinds from the ceiling, piece by piece, as if it's somewhere between a silk dance and burlesque. Piece of the body here, a piece of the body there, until her feet go to touch the ground. And in the last moment, when you might actually get a full peek of Vera Volkov, the trap door on the stage drops open, and she passes into the bottom, leaving everybody wanting.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Would you even see Arturo again for the rest of the evening? Or would that be the end of it?
No, absolutely
fine.
not.
As I figured. There is dead silence in the club as you disappear into the trapdoor. The trapdoor slams shut. The darkness kind of sits for a few moments, allowing everybody to kind of just take it in. The only thing that can be heard is the occasional breathing. And then, after a good 5 or 6 seconds, the first slow clap begins. And as the rest of the audience begins to break out into a clap and people take a drink, the camera pans from the ground floor up to the 3rd floor where Arturo stands over. He is not clapping initially. He simply is watching. And as the audience fully enraptures into this clap, a standing ovation for those who may have been sitting down, we watch as Arturo very slowly joins, clapping rhythmically. He places his glasses in his pocket as he does so, and a small twinkle of a grin is seen across his face. And as he moves in for that last final clap, everything goes dead quiet, and the screen cuts to black. Browse check for the next morning. Shaun gets a little hungrier. Duke is fine. And Max gets a little hungrier. There we go. Okay. A couple people are at 2. Everybody else is at 1. As everybody rouses for the evening and they get about their nightly routines, the club is already opening for business at this point. The coterie's downstairs. Before the 4 of you can even truly get together to have a full discussion on what the plans for the evening are, only merely getting some small talk out of the way. Max, you were obviously able to attain a microchip, but the door opens before you can even hand that to anybody. And down the stairs with quick steps, long black hair and a sleek, unbuttoned suit, is dear old Kadir, the sword strapped to his back. As he strides into the room, realizing you've already told him the prince is walled up, correct? He already knows. He's already aware of that. Yep. Strides into the blood room.
We just told him the wrong wall, remember?
Yes, that's right. Thank you. As he strides in to see the 4 of you, he looks to the 4 of you quietly, but says no words and waits for the coterie to speak first. Actually, that's not true. He looks to the coterie and then would look to Duke. I received word of your visit. What can I do for you?
I think this would be best, left coming from Shaun's mouth.
His eyes immediately squint very, very slightly as he turns to the kid. He takes a singular step forward toward Shaun, closing the gap by just a couple of feet.
Shaun's eyes go wide, and he takes a beat and just goes, of course, I been very busy, and so, you know, the people looking to cause chaos, one of them being Larson, I've met with him, and I've convinced him that, well, he wants to cause more chaos by taking out a high priority target in the city. In exchange, he's going to take me to wherever he's keeping a bunch of thin bloods upstate. But it seems like the high priority target is you.
At this point, the tension is broken by a very loud slurping sound as you see Max getting rid of that hunger point he just accumulated it's in an old Clamato juice box. That's what he's slurping out of. And he sort of looks up and goes, "Oh, sorry."
As he goes and continues to slurp, you can hear like as the cat tries to paw the straw out of your mouth a couple of times as you're trying to take a sip. But as Kadir shifts his sights from Max back over to Shaun. Continue speaking, boy.
So Larson's not going to be there, but his friends, they want to ambush you. And if you want to get close to them, then I guess this is the best chance that I've seen. And I'll be on the inside. Way up wherever they're doing probably more creepy demon summoning.
His head snaps back to Vera. And are the 3 of you in agreement with this particular plan that our friend Shaun has created? Or is this the plan?
Looks to be.
Kadir, there's value, wouldn't you agree, knowing that someone's coming for your head?
He nods. Just less that. But what's the plan after? When we dispose of them and Shaun is long gone.
I had another thought, if you'll hear me out, Kadir. I know it seems ridiculous, but what say we let them think you are in fact gone? What better way to out their plot? They'll let Shaun go, and he can come back and report to us about what he found.
He chews on this for a minute. He taps his foot a couple of times, clearly losing himself in thought.
And
what's this?
Just so as you know, we're not thinking of not keeping tabs on the kid. I got this here. I think it got pulled out of a golden retriever that got hit by a bus.
Oh, how adorable.
Yeah, it's a tragic story, but, it worked out for us.
Risky. Removal of that thing after it's done would be a priority.
Larson wants your head.
And what's to stop you from going to the meeting point where Larson's going to meet Shaun and removing his head instead?
Nothing, except that we've only accomplished removing Larson's head, and I think whatever's going on is far above Larson. Don't throw a water bottle at the problem when you can fix the well.
He nods. Messy. We don't have a lot of time.
We don't. And as long as we play it cool, and Shaun tells Larson that you're here for more personal reasons, he'll attack the club thinking that we are not ready.
And when do you want to do this?
Vera cuts eyes to Shaun.
I got word that he wants to meet in a couple of days. Oh, that was last night, so a day and a bit.
So tomorrow night, then?
I think so. Shaun gets the thing out and like double checks.
Yeah, it's to meet him tomorrow at Central Park.
Right, yeah.
Last question. Is he expecting you to be prepared?
He thinks I'm acting on my own, so I guess not.
The idea is to catch you off guard. I say we let them think that's the case, or else they're going to take dear Shaun's head. And we know that's reserved for you, Kadir.
Larson is wise enough to know that if you go down, you're not going down without taking out a few of them, if it all succeeds.
In the amount of time that we have to prepare, I don't see a better option. So I agree. I'll return tomorrow night. 2:00 in the morning. I'll be prepared.
As will we.
You.
We will be. Why don't you
Shaun.
join me in the VIP booth? That way they think you're rather relaxed.
He ignores that and looks to Shaun. Shaun, should this fail, I will personally seek you out and take your head. Understood.
If this fails, you won't have to.
I'm not worried about my survival, Shaun. He looks to the rest of the coterie. I'm worried about theirs.
Right.
He turns at this point, looks to you, Vera, and gives you a nod, but it's nothing else. Does not look to Duke, does not look to Max, and looks to leave.
Max, noticing that he doesn't turn to look at him, just sort of loudly says,
Okay, kid, let's get this thing in your butt.
Oh. Good night,
And on
Kadir.
that line, we'll cut to black. The next episode will be the finale.
Hey, it's Shaun. Now, I'm sure you've heard Vera say no phones, but if we're going to break 1 billion followers, then I'm going to need you to do me a little favour. If you could hop onto Twitter and follow us at Pod by Night, that would be mint, and a 5-star review on iTunes ain't going to hurt either. And maybe I'll share some of them spicy DMs with you. Cheers, mate.